Good time zone, sweet world. It is Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025. Welcome into Anch in the evening, a broadcast about video games and the video games industry. Hi, my name is Anch. I am a financial analyst now, former economic analyst and public policy analyst, but always at all times am I a video gamist. I dream about being a video game economist. It's been a while since I've been back. I've been grinding through some professional exams. If my professional advice would be for anyone looking to do accounting in Canada, do not do a CPA in Canada in 2025. Don't do it. It's not worth the pain. It might be worth the pain in 2 years from now, hopefully, when they figure their shit out with a little bit of a program overhaul that's going on. Because there's some problems with that program that I've had to go through. It's been like 5 years. At a certain point, it becomes like you just, it's ironic because it's accounting. So, one of the things that you'll cover is in particularly in management accounting is you'll talk about the idea of sunk costs and relevant costs in any kind of costing analysis. And so, when you're like 3 or 4 years in, you start looking at all these costs that you've thrown at this thing and you're like, oh man, like I'm stuck now. Like, what do I do? Right. And theoretically those are sunk. They're already gone. So no matter what, you shouldn't look at an alternative with those costs in mind. But when you're in it, you're like, man, like I've spent over 10,000, over 20,000, maybe over 30,000 at that point. And you're like, well, I mean, it's just another 5,000 to go, whatever it is. And yeah, anyway, I still keep waking up at 4:30 in the morning, every morning. This most recent morning, I woke up at 4:30 and I was having a nightmare that I had failed management accounting. And, then I had to use the washroom. So I got up and I went to the washroom and I was in a daze. And then, midstream, it hit me. I was like, oh, wait a second. Results don't come out till August. And then I realized, I was like, oh, I see. That was a nightmare. And, it's 4:30 in the morning. So yeah, anyway, as I say, I wrote those exams a couple weeks ago at this point, I guess. Maybe 1 week ago. 3 days in a row. No other country in the world does that, by the way. That's as far as I know, and I've looked into it. It seems like every other country that has a professional accounting certification, they split it up and they allow you to take separate exams whenever, they'll offer it on dates, but you're free to sign up for those as it works for you. And so over there, like, for example, I'm pretty sure, because I was looking into the US, they do 4 separate exams. And then I think, by the time you write the 4th final exam, and then also if there's probably a work experience component of it, you finish that work experience component, then you can go get licensed. But yeah, over here, it's 3 days in a row. The first day is a strategic thinking type of exam. And they call it enabling competency type of exam, but basically like that whole thing. And this is all, public knowledge. I have to sign a gag order as part of all this kind of stuff. And that's, there's a whole conversation to have around this kind of stuff. It happens at work too. We basically sign gag orders that, tell us what we can and can't say and highly encourage us not to say anything. And that kind of reduces our power as a bargaining unit. It's happening now. It's still happening. It's always going to happen. But yeah, anyway, CPA thing is no different. The students basically don't really have a voice. They don't have a voice at all, actually. Candidates don't have a voice. That's by design. And I think, the kind of broken thing about it too is that if you're a candidate and then you make it through, you're no longer a candidate. Now you're a member. And so once you become a member, why would you want to fix anything for the candidates? Because meaning that fixing anything for the candidates might make things worse for you as a member, or maybe your fees will go up as a member, and you don't want that as a member. So and there's no student union or anything like that, or candidate union or nothing. So anyway, pretty bad stuff. But yeah, day one is a strategic thinking kind of exam. They're not really too fussed about quantitative analysis being perfect. You have to do it, and you need to be able to show that you can. But there can be mistakes. It's okay. It's not huge. What has to be good is your qualitative analysis, and so you have to be able to do good strategic pro and cons on each option. And the other thing that they're always looking at is whatever those cases are, there's a big picture issue with that. It's a business case. It's a business simulation. And so, in that exam in particular, you're looking at what is the big picture issue in this environment, and how does that affect whatever recommendations I make? If you came out of that exam thinking like, oh, that's weird, there wasn't a big picture issue here, then you probably messed up. I would think. So yeah, that was interesting. And I managed to do that. I managed to catch the big picture issue. I can't talk about what it was, but I can talk in an analogy. I can say that, imagine that you were a video game company, and you had a key technology that you have to pay a license fee to continue to have access to that thing. And then let's say that, somewhere in the case, it started to talk about, there's been like a massive fire in a data center, and this company now is having a whole bunch of trouble providing this service that they do that is so key for you, and the cost is being driven up significantly, and we think it's gonna, within this range to this range, could be the percentage of how the costs are increasing and that kind of stuff. Let's say that was the situation, and then this company, going into this exam, you'll know the company that you're writing for. You'll be familiar with the situation of them like 4 years ago or something like that, and so you'll know enough about them to say, okay, that's weird. I don't know why you're giving me this information, but that's weird. And you note it down and you keep going. And by the way, you only have 4 hours to write your response to this case. But you keep going, and then they'll tell you about the traditional kind of like, oh, we have an option to make this game, or we have an option to do a partnership with this company, or and so on. There's like, oh, we have all these different strategic options that we're considering, and we need your advice on what to do. And so you'll work through those options kind of in a silo as you assess them one by one. And strategically, you're trying to see like, okay, does this option fit with what the vision, mission, and values of this company is? And does it, what are the strengths of like, what are the pros of doing this? What are the cons? What are the risks? All that kind of stuff. But there could be one option that has nothing to do with addressing the big picture threat. And there could be other options that directly relate to dealing with that threat, right? And the whole job of this exam, if you're trying to pass this thing, is to recognize that, okay, there are some of these options that dovetail with the trends, with either leveraging the strengths of the company or mitigating against the threats that exist in the industry. And so you work it that way, right? And I think that's like the intended solution to the case. There are many solutions because it is subjective, but there's also a technically correct solution as well. So that's day one. Day two is kind of, so day two is a 5-hour exam. Day two, you have to declare a role. For me, it was audit. But, because this accounting program in Canada, it merged, right? So before, you used to have a chartered accountant, which was a financial accountant. Then you would have a chartered management accountant. management accountant. Then you'd have a chartered general accountant, CGA, which was basically your tax accountant. And those were the three separate streams. And, it was like, I think generally understood that a CGA either taught in a university or did taxes. A CMA usually worked in like manufacturing firms or, some like management, like management in firms, which is, I always thought of management accounting as an application of microeconomic theory, which is why I was interested in management accounting for the longest time, until I realized that it could get so heavy into manufacturing context that I was like, fuck this. This is terrible. I don't want to be a manufacturing accountant. Why are you making me do this program? Awful. And then and chartered accountant is the financial accountant, and the hardest one, because there are many financial reporting frameworks. There are two in Canada now, International Financial Reporting Standards and the Accounting Standards for Private Enterprise, or ASPE, as it's called. ASPE is simpler, much simpler than IFRS, and that's because ASPE is meant for small private corporations. And it's meant to do it's meant to keep the accounting for that as simple as possible. Whereas IFRS is a little bit different. IFRS is more concerned with fair value accounting, and it's trying to take economic concepts and reflecting like the real value of the accounts whenever you see them. At whatever period of time that you're looking at a financial statement. And, of course, like reliability and usability and confidence in being able to trust what those numbers are and all that kind of stuff. There's conceptual frameworks around all this stuff. But it's complicated. And so, the CA was the hardest thing to get. And then all the programs merged. And then all the candidates in those programs, they merged maybe, I can't remember the exact year, but it's been at least 10 years. So somewhere in the range of 10 to 15, I think. And so all the programs merged, and now you had to know everything as a candidate going into this stuff. They tell you, you don't need to know everything. You don't need to be perfect. And that's a lie. Although, there's limits on that. It's a half truth. Let's say that. I think we can be in the middle and say it's a half truth. Functionally, though, in my opinion, you do have to know everything to get through here, right? Like I had to. Oh, man, so you basically, what this looks like as somebody who's continuing education, right, is that for 5 years you're slowly getting all the courses that you need to do this stuff, right? And so you're doing this in stages. So you're doing preparation courses. And this is like, you're refreshing your basic accounting stuff. You're hopefully, if you hadn't already gotten, human resources and IT and all those kind of courses done in whatever stage of education you were in the past. And, if those aren't accepted, then you have to do that. Once you get through that, then you need to go through, I think, Core 1 is what they call it. So there's Core 1, Core 2. Then there is 2 electives that you have to pick. And then you go through their so-called capstone to finish out the program. Core 1 and Core 2 are like, I think Core 1 focuses on financial accounting and taxation and maybe finance. And Core 2 would focus on management accounting, audit, and strategy. But you'd have like all topics covered. It's just a matter of where it's being skewed in terms of the quantity of material. And then you pick your electives, and in your electives, you'd go into a greater level of detail. For me, that was audit and performance management are the two that I did. Because I always felt good at audit. I've worked in places that have been under audit, and so I was just intuitively familiar with what that's like and what that field is like. And then Performance management I did because I was relatively weak in the quantitative aspects of management accounting, and so I wanted some more practice there. But the problem is then that you work your way through this thing, you come to final exams that are basically retesting you on everything, because by the time you write those final exams, you haven't learned any new technical knowledge at this point. You've done all the technical knowledge over the past 4 years. The problem now is that in your 5th year of writing an exam that is covering everything from the past 5 years, now you have to be able to recall all that information. And that's very difficult, if not impossible to do. So you could very well be caught out on any one of these exams, depending on what they've put out there, not remembering what the issue is with this particular thing and what to do about it. It happened to me on the exam, on one of the exams. And at that point, you have to recognize to say, you know what? They were playing the gotcha game and they got me. And whatever, I make the best attempt I can in the time that I have for this, which, you set time budgets for all the stuff that you're doing. And you say, you know what? I gave myself 20 minutes for this thing. I'm going to try my best. And once that 20 minutes is over, you close the book, you conclude, and you move on. So yeah, just a mess of a thing. I've written down a whole lot of stuff. I think at some point it would be nice to write up about the whole experience and publish it somewhere, maybe an anonymous something or the other, or not, whatever, who cares. But like I say, they're revising the program anyway, so what does it matter? Hey, that's enough about accounting then, I guess. I would like to be a chartered video game analyst. That would be cool. I think that won't ever exist. That won't ever be a thing, except in my dreams. Video games, God, it's been so long. It's been so long since I've even thought about video games. Normally I like to do new stuff on Tuesdays, or whenever. I guess I was doing it on Sundays before. I forgot that I have a raid to go to in half an hour, because I raid in World of Warcraft. I forgot. So that's going to happen. I had thought that, we would come here and play something afterwards, but I'm probably going to go play WoW. So there's that. But yeah, otherwise, normally what I do is I kind of take a look through the news and come up with some things to say and some comments and all that kind of stuff. But I have not been following this for a while because I haven't been able to. But we're back. We are so back that probably the first place that I actually want to start is to go to Blue Sky and look up Matt Piscatella. Start there. Let's see what Matty has to say. 1 month ago, we had... Oh, no, never mind. This is just the... Oh, this is the participating publishers in the service stuff. So Matt Piscatella does, for Circana, he publishes the top 20 sales. I think they also do user engagement tracking and this kind of stuff. But I'm trying to find scrolling right on through his Blue Sky. I could throw this on the screen here, but I don't want to get myself in trouble with stuff that I show by accident. It's happened before. I'm really bad at it. April 2025 video game highlights. Oh. They did top 10 best-selling premium games on the Nintendo. This was April 2025. Oh, I see. Mario Kart 8, of course, number 1. Followed by Minecraft. Followed by Jamboree. Followed by Hello Kitty Island Adventure. Okay, and then less interesting things. Hogwarts Legacy is number 9. God damn it. Not finding the post that I usually find from him though. Oops. Let's see here. Circana player engagement tracker. That's not what I'm looking for. Top 20 best-selling games for April 2025. Ranked number 1, Elder Scrolls 5. Elder Scrolls 4. Is that 4? That's 4, right? Oblivion? Remastered? Yeah. Forza Horizon 5 is number 2. Number 3, MLB The Show 25. Okay. Number 4, Minecraft. Number 5, Assassin's Creed Shadows. Number 6, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I wonder why. That had jumped up from number 118 to number 6. That seems... Well, it must have had a sale. You know, I'm expecting to see Hogwarts Legacy. Yes, Hogwarts Legacy came from 21 to 20 because I remember seeing it on sale and I was like, oh shit, it's gonna come back on this list. Let's see what else. Minecraft jumped from number 11 to number 4. Star digital sales on... Oh, okay. No, that's fine. Assassin's Creed Shadows, right. So that last month, meaning March. And so in the March, Assassin's Creed Shadows would have been number 1 on this list. It moved down to number 5. Call of Duty Black Ops still hanging around. So it dropped from number 6 to number 7. WWE 2K25, NBA 2K25, number 8 and number 9. Oh, PGA Tour 2025. Okay. Number 10. MH Wilds, number 11. Down from number 3 previous month. Split Fiction, I don't know what that is. The Last of Us Part 2, right? EA Sports FC 25, fine. Sports. GTA 5, okay. Red Dead Redemption 2, The Elder Scrolls Online. Elden Ring. Huh. Maybe before Night Rain, people buying it. Oh, they also do year-to-date stuff. Okay, interesting. Anyway, so that's kind of the latest from Matt. That's interesting. There was this other article that was there. I linked it somewhere. I linked it in the Discord. I think. By the way, in the Uplog Gaming Discord, you too can join the Uplog Gaming Discord by clicking on this link. I do actually have a Discord server now, but that is currently only open to Twitch subscriber. Oh, does that link not work? Oh, well, it's currently only open to Twitch subscribers. Gift subscribers included, by the way. It's just the control over ingest, and while I still try to get everything to work. There's also a Patreon if you want to follow on the it's free to follow on the Patreon. But if you do want to get access to this Discord, then you'd want to pay. And the idea there is nothing. I mean, you know, it's nothing sinister. It's just, hey, if you're a Twitch subscriber, if you get into that Discord, there is a private Twitch chat for you there, where I would like to take your suggestions and your comments for where you'd like to see the stream go, and maybe some things that you'd like me to explore, whether it's games or topics in video games to think about and kind of chew into, maybe write about, maybe do a video on, that kind of stuff. And Patreon's a similar idea would be, but I think Patreon would be more for, if there's some videos that you want created on certain topics, or maybe you want a tutorial, right? It could be I don't know, have you heard of Streamlink? Do you want to know how to set up Streamlink so that you too can get your watch hours up? There's all kinds of stuff to dig into now that I seem to have more time for it. Knock wood, hopefully I actually pass these exams. I won't actually know till August, but we're just kind of assuming that it's all done. So, but yeah, that's the idea there. Anyway, so I had done people can fly, right? That was the thing. So People Can Fly is has suspended 2 of its projects, and they've announced further layoffs. Now that means that it's probably jobs that are associated with the projects. I mean, that's what this says to me. They had pinned this on an unnamed publisher that had not basically kept their end of the agreement. Oh, shit! Something fell, and it says here, not presented. So People Can Fly said the publisher had not presented with a draft of the subsequent content writer to the publishing agreement covering the terms and conditions of further milestones. He also noted a lack of communication from the publisher as to its willingness to continue or terminate both projects. This is from Sophie McEvoy, staff writer from gamesindustry.biz. So this is coming after January 2024, when People Can Fly had cut 30 employees due to budget limitations. The developer had another round of redundancies affecting over 120 workers in December of last year. And they say that this action was necessary as external market pressure persisted beyond our forecasts. So I think there's a couple of things going on here, and it's like it's not a very long article, and there's not a whole lot of information to dig into. And as usual, there's these are all like for the. If it's a public company, the information is going to be obfuscated through, a layer of financials and unhelpful notes. If it's a private company, there's not going to be any information anyway. It's going to be very little information, right? So you kind of make do with what you have out here. But I would think if you're looking at this kind of stuff, then it somewhere else they had written about, it's basically hinting at cash flow issues, right? They literally do not have enough cash to pay their obligations as they come due. And so now they need to start cutting whatever they can cut so that they can have enough cash to continue operating. Right? So that they can have enough to pay off their loans and have enough to pay salaries, right? Which is kind of odd, because then you're like, well, you're cutting staff, you have to pay severance. So that's going to cause an initial drain in cash, but you will then have cash savings going forward. And so, being through the program that I've been through, I've had to do several cash flow statements. So I'm very acutely familiar with these kind of analyses. But the other thing that it kind of hints is that, well, the second thing is, if the publisher really wasn't kind of holding up their end of the deal, then you're faced in a situation where you're saying, well, I mean, the alternative is we don't fire anyone, we continue working on both of these projects, but we also seek additional financing, or maybe we have a line of credit and we keep pulling more on that line of credit and all this kind of stuff. But then now at that point, you're taking additional financing now to keep financing the thing that you're still doing, but now you have increasing interest expense, every whatever it is, however often that interest compounds, usually monthly. So let's say you have additional interest expense every month now on this thing that you don't know, is it going to complete, or is the publisher going to do its job? Is this going to be successful? And you're weighing that now, trying to present value some value of money 3 years from now, and you're trying to come up with, today, what do we do, right? And so that's how this in my mind, that's how this decision kind of gets made, to say, you know what, on these 2 projects, we don't think at this point that it seems likely that it's going to go anywhere. And now we have to make a decision to say, all that money that we allocated to this thing, well, it's done now. And we're better off, to survive, to continue operating, we have to scale it down. And just, focus on our main whatever it is. Which I don't know. Is it Gears of War? I'm not sure. I haven't been in this. I haven't been looking into this for in 3 months, 4 months, whatever it is. It's been a while. So that's the thing there that caught my attention when people can fly. What else is there? There's, I mean, of course, how am I not going to talk about the Switch 2? I suppose there's that. Although I don't really have a lot to say about the Switch 2 because there hasn't been. I'm not sure why there hasn't been any sort of, like, they hadn't given out the consoles. They gave maybe a prototype really to few people that played it for a day, like 8 hours maybe. I'm just trying to scan through some stuff real quick. Stephen, I subscribed to GameFile, right? So there's Stephen Totillo. Writes about all the stuff. Stephen Totillo had a Switch 2 for about 8 hours, I guess, for a day. There's a $10 game. It's good. There is mini games in the Switch 2 Welcome Tour. They use mouse controls on a Joy-Con, but they can be divisive, meaning they could be good, but they could also be very awkward if you're on a couch. Okay. Reviews for the system and games will arrive late, right? So there's no reviews. It's not going to be anything. So there's, it's very strange, man. And, there's pent up demand. And of course, like, okay, so if you're a streamer and you're in this industry and you're doing this, then it's like, whatever, you're going to go out there and you're going to get it. You're going to be like, yeah, this is my job. So I have to get the new thing and I have to go out there and get as many eyes as I can and grow my community and do all this kind of stuff. So fine. I totally understand that from like if you're on Twitch and this is your thing. But as a consumer, it's like, man, I don't know. Like I'm in the camp of saying, like, I'm not buying shit. I'm not spending anything until you can show me what, is this even good? Like what's going on here? Which, I mean, surely it's going to be fine. It's the Switch with better hardware, which is great, which is why it's also more expensive, isn't it? So, hey, but we'll wait and see what's there. And there's going to be some, technology upgrades. I think it's confirmed to have DLSS and all this kind of stuff. I don't know. Wouldn't it be great if you had a Switch that could do like really hot, really intense ray tracing, and then you played a Luigi's Mansion or something like that, and it had like crazy ass path ray tracing and all this like different lighting effects? Man, that won't. It's not gonna be a thing. But hey, we can dream. Oh, there's a game chat. That's right. But I would guess only with your friends. System software has some promising feature. The Switch system software is bare bones. Switch 2 had loads of accessibility options, however, including large font sizes. Okay. That's good. That's good. It's good for our parents and stuff like that. My mom still plays her Switch. Mostly Animal Crossing. Mostly because we haven't really introduced her to anything else or really have found anything else that would also work, I guess. It takes more than 10 minutes to drive from one side of Mario Kart world map to the other. Okay. Interesting. Oh, there's a picture of a world map here. I can't show you that, but interesting. It just reminds me of Australia is all that it does, really. Or Northrend. That reminds me of Northrend, actually. Okay, weird. It's got that kind of crescent shape to it. There's a terrific photo mode in Mario Kart. There's a lot of challenges in Mario Kart. There's a lot of Mario Kart shit, huh? It's basically going to be Mario Kart out the gate. It's like Mario Kart. Is there any other launch title? I think that's it. Mario Kart and like a bunch of other games that already exist in other places, but will run better, apparently. I know I read about Scarlet Violet coming, so that's fine. Ubisoft, there's also some Ubisoft thing they normally do. I had just heard that they normally do what's it called, like their own developer direct, whatever the fuck that shit's called. They'll do their own show, right? I can't remember what the name of it is, but Ubisoft won't be doing that this year. This year they're going to show up on IGN, and I think they're going to show up on the PC game show, PC Gamer show. This is all the Summer Game Fest stuff that's happening, I guess, soon. I think there's a PlayStation something or the other tomorrow. As you can tell, I'm so prepared for this. Oh, God. Maybe next week. NVIDIA CEO was featured in the Switch 2 promotional video, where he said the chip his company designed for the console provides the most advanced graphics ever in a mobile device. Okay. So that's that article. Let's see, what else is here? Let me take one more article. Let's see. EA canceled a Black Panther game. What else? Oh yeah, there was this whole Xbox thing. So actually in the Epilogue Gaming video game prediction thing that we're doing that I need to go look at. I think one of the predictions was Microsoft will do some sort of reveal on their handheld. I'm not sure if this article is going to count for this, for that question. I'll have to go see the detailed guidance that I wrote for it to see if it counts or not. But I think through a leak, through someone else, is it Windows Central or something? Again, I'm so prepared for this. It has leaked that internally, the direction has pivoted away from focusing on the Microsoft handheld to instead try to fix Windows 11 operating system, essentially for gaming purposes as well as just as an operating system, and also to focus on third-party support for handheld devices, namely Asus, who has their own. I think it's like Asus ROG something or the other. I'm not big into handhelds, but yeah, ROG Ally, right? And that makes sense for Microsoft there. I think that these plans are so long term, and the budgeting and the allocations that happen for all this stuff happens like at least 5 years. I think if you go beyond 5 years, you probably do, but it becomes very unreliable at that point because any number of things could happen that throws off any assumptions that you've made to try and forecast, what the costing looks like over more than 5 years. But it's at least 5 years, and so, this to me just kind of seems like a thing where it's like, all right, well, these things that we thought were going to happen in year 3 of our plan here maybe now get shifted out to year 5 or something. That's how I envision this whole thing. But it makes sense that you want to tidy up the operating system now first to make sure that whatever handheld that you're going to do is okay with this operating system compared to whatever else all of your competition is doing, right? So Nintendo is one part of the competition that has their handheld, a hybrid device, handheld and, in a dock. But anyway, whatever it is, that operating system works very well for them. And then you have the Steam handheld that has I think a Linux-based system that runs very well and also functions as a computing device that is very customizable, and you can, run different things on it, and probably, put whatever operating system you want on it, really. And then you have Windows on handheld, which seems to be performing the worst of everything, and so that needs to be fixed. That's like the core issue that it needs to be fixed first before you can move forward with any sort of hardware thing, beyond even just looking at it strategically from saying, as Xbox with a handheld, what does that mean? Does that mean just Xbox? Does that mean other things can come onto here? Like it should just be, just Game Pass on a handheld, right? With as many things as possible to fit into it. So I thought that was interesting. That's we'll have to see where that goes. And then there was also a thing here about unionization. So a Zenimax union was able to negotiate a deal with Microsoft for better pay. I can't remember what the number was. There was a number here somewhere, but it seemed like a pretty significant pay increase. So new minimum salaries for employees, substantial across the board wage increases. This is from the Communication Workers of America, which must be the bargaining agent. Protections against arbitrary dismissal, grievance procedures, crediting policy that clearly acknowledges QA workers' contributions to the video games that they help create, and a previously announced agreement on how artificial intelligence is introduced and implemented in the workplace. Right. Agreement commits Zenimax to uses of AI that augment human ingenuity and capacities to ensure that these tools enhance worker productivity, growth, and satisfaction without causing workers harm. Zenimax has agreed to provide notice to the union in cases where AI implementation may impact the work of union members and to bargain those impacts upon request. I think this is fantastic. I think good on Bethesda and Microsoft for allowing it to happen and not, for 300 workers, by the way. It's not like their entire workforce was unionized. I think if it was their entire workforce, there would have been a much different response because that's quite outsized. And would have could really frustrate whatever it is that they're trying to do. And I think, I'm just thinking of it from their perspective of trying to run a business. Would they tolerate something like this? And so for when you look at the number of workers and you look at 300 workers, I think, okay, that's more tolerable. As one pocket of risk to manage, that's much 300 workers is much easier to manage in a union arrangement than 3,000 or 300,000, right? So it's a little bit different now. Of course, maybe okay, so one pocket unionizes, maybe another one will. Okay, so certainly that could happen, but even still, I think fine. It's good. Unionization is good. Obviously it's good for the employee for multiple reasons. It can be anyway, because again, you pay union dues, right? So these workers now will pay union dues, and it'll be up to the union to make that worth it. And I mean, there's also different opinions on how unions should be run, right? So for me, when I think about it, I think of it as a very cold kind of thing of saying, I've paid this much as a union due. I expect that that money that's going to the union will be used professionally in a way that will ensure that my needs as an employee is bargained for properly and is pursued and all this kind of stuff. And also I'm paying you because I have a job to do and I'm going to go do that job. I can't be worried about, while I'm trying to do that job, also trying to, deal with a work environment type of situation as well. Some people I've talked to in the past who have worked at unions don't think that that's the way that I should look at it. They think that, I should look at it as like, oh, well, if we're unionized, then we're all part of the union. Therefore, we all need to get involved with actively campaigning for employee support, to take actions against all the things that we need to have action taken on. And that can be really challenging and really not feasible. I can think of so many things, and even in our context around here of the shit that we have to deal with, that it would just, if we tried to campaign on every single thing that we wanted to improve, we wouldn't get our own work done. We'd just be stuck just trying to get, like clean desks and clean buildings. Maybe we could start there. Clean buildings would be nice. It'd be brilliant. Fuck. God. Oh, man. Yeah. Ask me about it sometime. I'd be happy to talk about it. Jeez. So yeah, but in theory, I think this is great. Because you take care of the basic employee needs. You enable them to be happier, right? Better paid. And they're going to work harder for you. That's the theory, right? And that makes sense. They'll work harder for you. They will help you produce more or better quality product. And that will make you money, right? That's how this is supposed to work. And then if you want to supplement that, then also give them employee compensation. So do like stock-based compensation or all this different kind of stuff where you try to align the interests of the employee and the employer, and say that, hey, you do a good job. This game does well. We're gonna give you additional stock. Like this kind of stuff. Or we're just gonna give you additional stock over 3 years as you keep working on this thing, and as you go through, you'll keep working hard so that share price increases, and then at the end of 3 years, hopefully you've had a share price that has gone up since you either exercise the options to get the stocks or were gifted the stocks or whatever. And then you can hold on to it for unrealized gain, or you can sell it for an actual gain. So all of that makes a lot of sense. I hope that we see more of it. I am doubtful. Because I think most employers will just look at it as a threat, saying that, oh, well, now we have to have increased salary expense, and there's a strike risk if we don't, take care of our staff and all this kind of stuff. But these are, I think it's probably a sign of poor management. If you're already worrying about poor management of staff, and that makes you worry about unionization, then you're probably already not doing a good job. So we're already screwed. Anyway. Hey, so that's news. Awesome. Thanks for listening. We'll be back again next week, Tuesday, to talk about more news. Or maybe not. I don't know. As those words come out of my mouth, I realize that Tuesday is when I have raid with our WoW community, Iron Fist, starting at 9 in the evening. Starting now. Shit. God damn. So I'll have to do some thinking on what works for a schedule. But Tuesdays are a good day for me. Fridays are also another good day. Saturdays and Sundays, obviously, are good days. So those are the 4 days that I'll probably be online. But we'll see. I might have to move some things around with my work schedule and all that kind of stuff. And we'll see if we can't accommodate something else that works a bit better. Till then, enjoy your video games. And, maybe we'll come back with a bit of a better planned show. But whatever. As long as we're spitting to microphones about video games, then whatever. I'm happy. You happy? I hope so. Let's be happy. All right. Take care.